Um, Now, you don't necessarily join a dining out club or an eating club, but it's just the kind of thing that you do with your friends. Now, if you are at a university in a foreign country and you want to make friends, you might say, "Oh, do you want to go out for dinner tonight, or do you want to go for lunch?" Probably more likely at university, you might say, "Oh, should we go somewhere for lunch, or do you want to meet for lunch?" Now, you know, many of your classmates might not be interested in that, depending where they're from. Now, I find if in Australia, especially where I am in, Newcastle is not my hometown. So most of my classmates come from Newcastle and they don't really want to make a lot of new friends. They've been here over 20 years, 25 years or more. They have friends, some of them have children, some of them are married with children. They don't want to go out and make new friends, but generally you'll find within your class, there will be some people that are happy to hang out and make new friends. So you might just say, "Oh, so what are you doing this weekend? Would you like to meet for lunch on Saturday and maybe go to the beach or to the park?" And that would be the kind of thing. "Oh, where would you like to go?" Now, eating out is something that we could probably spend a lot more time on in a lesson, because there's a lot of specialized vocabulary when you go to a restaurant and a lot of little things there. But I'm not going to spend too much time on that today because it doesn't really have a lot of things we can say to start a conversation. It's not so much something you talk about as a conversation starter, except to say, "Oh, would you like to go for dinner? Do you want to join me for lunch?" Especially if you've had classes in the morning, it's 11 o'clock, you're hungry. "Oh, shall we go somewhere for lunch?" Now, another common hobby. Let's look at the next one. Well, I don't know how common this is. Depends on where you are in China. Fishing, of course, if you don't know. Now, fishing is something I know quite a few people in Australia where we live. There's a lot of water around this area. In Weihai, I know a lot of people that go fishing. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. You need to go and find the vocabulary. I'm going to work through these hobbies fairly quickly. The main vocabulary is fishing rod and fishing reel. Reel is the part where you wind it up. So we have rod and reel. Then you have little things like the hook. Normally, if you know somebody that likes to go fishing, there's a good way to make friends. Say you're in Australia and you find out that another guy in your class loves fishing. They say, "Oh, you love fishing? Me too. Look, I've not been fishing in Australia. I don't suppose you could, take me somewhere to go fishing. I'd love to go fishing with you if you could. I'll buy you lunch if you can show me a good place to go fishing and teach me about the fishing rules in Australia." Now, in Australia, there are very strict rules about where you can and can't fish and the size of the fish you can catch there. So that could be a good way to get with somebody as a friend if they like fishing. Singing, going to KTV, and karaoke. Now, of course, generally in China, going to KTV is one of the most popular hobbies for pretty much all ages. KTV is not very big in Australia. I mean, I'm sure it's growing because there's more and more Chinese people. We do have something called karaoke. Now, KTV, if you did not know, means karaoke television. And that's where you have karaoke in a small room with just you and your friends. But karaoke, what happens in Australia is karaoke is public. There might be a bar or a pub that one night a week is their karaoke night, where they have the karaoke machine and the microphone. Well, this is technically my microphone. They have the microphone and you choose it and you sing in front of everyone else in the bar. And so your group of friends will go there and you'll sit at your table and you'll go up and write your name down and say, "This is the name, this is the song I want to sing." And the people in the bar, they will run the karaoke. They will invite you up when it's your turn. So if you go to the bar, you might go there for 3 hours, but you might only sing 3 songs. And you wouldn't sing by yourself because most of the time you wouldn't sing by yourself. To be honest, I've only once been to karaoke in Australia, and it wasn't for me. I'm a terrible singer. But my friend took me once because he loves to go, and he's a good singer. And again, he sung one song that night. So Very different. I do think KTV is a much more fun way of doing things because as a terrible singer, I don't want to go to karaoke where everyone else can see me singing badly and laugh at me. At least in KTV, only your friends can laugh at you and not strangers. You're probably not going to find many foreigners if you go to England or Australia will even know where to go out for karaoke or KTV and maybe not be very interested. But maybe you'll find some people that are interested. It's more likely that in China you will invite foreigners to go to KTV. And then you need to find a KTV that has a good selection of English songs. Many KTV bars in China have terrible songs. They only have pop songs. Yeah, it's hard to find good songs to sing. Listening to music. Of course, listening to music is a popular hobby. I would always recommend if you find, that you like a certain kind of music and there's people in your class that like a certain kind of music, you might invite them to go to a concert. So I know that in Newcastle, where I live in Australia right now, every week there's many new bands come and play. Like if I go onto the internet, I can find lots and lots and lots of different bands. So if you're living in any city, like Newcastle, where I am, has like 1 million people. Where I lived in Weihai had about 1 million people in China. The city in China, Weihai, 1 million people. Newcastle, 1 million people. In Weihai, I couldn't find new music. I mean, there'd be some bars that have people playing common songs, but not any new music, not lots of people coming to play music. But in Newcastle, same number of people, every week there will be 50 places I can go and listen to music. And sometimes cover bands. A cover band plays other people's music. They play famous songs. But some of them are cover bands, but many of them are new bands. They play their own music, and you go and listen to new music and see if you like it. And that's huge. That's what people do a lot of the time. So if you find out that somebody in your class likes the same music as you, you might say, oh, I'd love to go and listen to a gig. A gig is like a small concert. Maybe it's in a bar with just a few hundred people listening. So you go online, you find out where the concerts and gigs are, and you invite your classmates. Oh, I'm going to see this person on Saturday night at this place. Would you like to come along? Most common kinds of music in Australia: rock music, funk, R&B, hip hop. Then you also have heavy metal, house music, dance music, trance. Like you all know by now, after my first video, ska music is my favorite kind of music. So if you know what kind of music people like, you're talking to your classmate, you're talking to a foreigner, oh, what kind of music do you like? If you both like the same kind of music, great. That gives you something to do together. You can go to a concert and listen to music. And normally if you go out to listen to a concert, you might have dinner before the concert, have a couple of drinks, listen to music. It'll be a really nice night out. Okay, photography is taking photos. Again, universities will often have photography clubs where a group of people who love taking photographs will go to certain places. Maybe one day you'll go to the beach one Saturday together. Next week, you'll go to the gardens that have lots of beautiful flowers. One week, you might go to the zoo together, or you might just go around the university together, and you'll take photographs together, and then you'll share your photos and look at each other's photos, and maybe sit down at the computer and practice your Photoshop skills together. So if you do like photography, have a look for a photography club. And again, look for all the vocabulary. There's lots of vocabulary for taking photographs once you know all about the zoom, the focus, the aperture. I'm not going to explain all of those words. If you like photography, go and find out yourself. Sports. Now, I'm just going to talk about, of course, playing soccer. I play soccer. I have a team in Newcastle here that I play with. We just finished our winter competition where we play full game, 11 people each side every week. Now that the winter competition is finished, we're starting a 6-a-side competition, a smaller competition with less people, also playing once a week. So, that's what I do all year round. I will play some kind of sport. And that's how I make a lot of my friends. So whatever sport, whether you're playing soccer, whether it's full field, 11 a side, 6 or 7 a side is also quite common. And then you have indoor football or futsal, which is usually five-a-side, sometimes four-a-side, but usually five-a-side competition indoors. Almost every major city all around the world will have some kind of sporting competition you can join. This is actually one of the biggest cultural differences I've found with China and, say, Australia. We are a very sporting country. Children will play sports on a Saturday. It's so common. Every sports field, there's lots of sports fields across every city and every place, every town, every small country village. There'll be places where kids will go on a Saturday and play sport. Whether it's basketball or soccer or tennis, whatever it is, they'll go and play sport on a Saturday. It's just what most children in Australia will do. It's what I did all through my childhood. Whereas in China, you go to extra English classes on the weekend. You know, you go to extra maths, extra art, piano class. You don't go out and do sports, but that's what most of us do in our free time. Probably at least half the Australians I know, over 30, still play a sporting activity, it's soccer or some other sport on the weekend. So go and join a club. We've already talked a lot about that already. Shopping, now I'm not somebody that likes to go shopping, but hanging out at the mall, or in Australia we say the shopping centre, you know, that's another thing you would do, more if you're like a teenager, say between the age of, say, 12 and 18. Because you don't have a lot of money, you go and hang out at the mall, you have a coffee, you maybe watch a movie, and you just walk around the shops together. Very common hobby, especially more for girls, but you know, if that's what you like to do, say to like your friends and in your class or wherever, hey, I'm going shopping. I'm just going to go to the shopping mall this weekend. Do you want to come and join me? I'm just going to go walk around the shops. I need to buy some stuff, have a coffee. We can maybe have lunch together. And to be honest, some girls love that. Some guys love that. And that can be also something you do together. Swimming, same kind of thing as sports. I'm not going to talk too much more about that because, as I sometimes do, I talk a little bit too long on some things, and then, yes, I'm sorry, I start speaking a bit faster because I'm looking at my clock, which is down there. Okay, oops, I've only got 3 or 4 minutes left. So let's finish those, watching TV and other hobbies. For example, archery. In Weihai, I used to do archery a bit there. So whatever your hobbies are, find out a little bit about the vocabulary, join a club, talk to people online, and that will help you to make friends. When you are talking to people, say your classmate at university or somebody you've met in a bar, what are you going to talk about? You know, you might just say, oh, what do you like to do in your free time? Or what do you do for fun? Now, saying what are your hobbies, that's not such a common question. Probably the first question there is more common. So you meet your classmate, you've talked about where you're from, you've talked about your university classes. Then you might say, oh, so what do you like to do in your free time? Me, I play soccer every week. I love to go and watch the rugby league. I read fantasy fiction. I love beer. I like trying new beers. I used to make my own beer. You know, if I say those 3 things and the person I'm talking to is interested in one of them, we'll start talking about that. Now, if you find that the person you're talking to is not interested in any of the things you like, they're probably not going to be your friend. But at some point, when you meet a new friend, that was kind of going to be a question you might ask in the first few minutes. Talk about where you're from, what you're doing here, how long you've been here, and then after a few minutes, you ask that question. Because that's how we then go into making friendships. Connecting with people. If you can connect with somebody, build a relationship, the easiest way is through hobbies. Now, once you know what their hobbies are, you might say, oh, so how often do you play soccer? How often do you go out to take photographs? How often do you go swimming? I play soccer twice a week, although we train on Tuesdays and we play on Friday evenings. Often if you play sport, once a week you might train, so you practice as a team, you practice skills, and then another day you play against other teams. Where do you usually play? Oh, my team plays, our home games are in Bolwarra, which is about 30 minutes drive west from here. Or we normally play at the University Oval on a Tuesday night. Who do you usually play with? I usually play with my team. We actually need another player if you want to join us. You know, that's how I got into my soccer team. One of my classmates invited me to join his soccer team. What kind of do you like to? So it could be movies. What kind of movies do you like to watch? What kind of books do you like to read? That's a huge question you're going to talk about for those topics. Okay, if you want to keep the conversation going, so when did you first start to play the piano? Oh, I started playing the piano when I was 7 years old. How did you learn to play soccer so well? Maybe you play soccer with them. Oh, how did you learn? Oh, I've been training since I was 5 years old. Or how did you learn to take such beautiful photographs? He says, oh, I taught myself. Really? That's amazing. So are you good at soccer? Not too bad. Our team's just average. We're not really that good. So if I want to join the soccer team, what do I need to do? So what do I need to do if I want to join your soccer team? Well, you'll need to bring your own boots along and bring some money because you'll need to buy the same color clothing. And we have some shorts and some socks we can sell you. Yeah. Anyway, time is up for today. So thank you very much for listening very patiently. I really hope you're enjoying my videos. Please give me any suggestions and ideas. I think after I finish the general topic course, I'm going to stop and look at questions and all the information I've gotten from you before I make my next series of videos. So please contact us with your questions, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.